Hey guys, this is Tom from CrossCountryRoads.com. I'm coming to you today with my third ever audio blog. And in this one, what I wanted to talk about were just some of the ongoing things going on with the site behind the scenes, and possibly some mild changes that I'm tossing around in my head to hopefully improve things. And the big thing, which will take up the chunk of this blog, is I wanted to go over what my definition of clinched is. When I say to clinch a road, I'm going to lay out exactly what I mean when I say that. My personal, non-official definition. We'll get to that in a few minutes. First, those of you who've been paying attention to the YouTube channel, I've noticed I've been uploading pretty much nothing but videos from Pennsylvania right now, and that's because I just decided to try to, rather than jumping around from one state to another, one part of the country to the other, I thought perhaps maybe it would just be easier for me and hopefully more engaging for you if I just did one state at a time, went through, uploaded everything I have from done and ready to go from that state, and then move on to another and do the same thing, and then so on and so forth. Just something I'm trying. When I asked for any feedback about whether you like that or not, no one said anything, so I guess that means no one has a problem with it, because usually if people do, they're rather vocal about it. So I guess I'll keep doing that. If not, now's the time to speak up if you'd like to see the previous method of jumping back and forth back, but anyway, one idea I've been throwing around for the future of the videos is I'm considering, now that my YouTube channel is allowed to have videos up to, I forget, like over 15-20 minutes in length, I'm thinking I'm going to start making the videos longer. This will be the new ones I film from here on out. All the ones I've already filmed are already cut off in 10-mile increments like I was normally doing. So I think it would kind of look stupid to combine those and have like a break in the middle, right in the middle of them. I think it would look dumb, but that's, of course, leave that up to you to decide. If you don't care, if that doesn't bother you, I guess let me know. But any videos I film from here on out, I'm throwing around the idea of doing 20 miles at a time, or slightly more, give or take. And that would, in the end, cause less work for me. It's just simply fewer number of videos means the less time editing them, which I don't do much editing, as you know, but it still does take time to do what I do with them. And also less pages to create to embed the videos in, and I just think it would save me a lot of time and effort by doing that, but that's something I'm considering. I haven't decided one way or the other yet. Also with the videos, I'm going to start doing all the newer ones I'm editing is even less editing than I already do, which is, I don't do much, as you know. I'm going to just completely leave out the cheesy intros I have of just the text, because I think when people click on a video, they want to jump right into it rather than sit through 10 seconds of an intro that they already know. It says stuff that they already know since they clicked on it, like the state, the road, and the direction, and the exact mile markers it covers. So I'm just going to leave that out from now on, I think. That's really it. Ongoing as well is still the picture viewer. I haven't been doing much with that recently. I've been trying to catch up on the videos. That's why I've been doing these blitzes, because I'm way behind on them, if you haven't been able to tell. I still am, even with the splits well underway. So one big chunk of videos I have left to do is Interstate 10 east in Texas. And considering that it's 800 some miles long, I'm not going to do all those at once. Probably do like 100 of those, or 100 miles worth of those, which would be like 10 videos. Move on to something else, come back and do the next 100 miles of it, and so on and so forth till it's done, so that there's no interest lost along the way, hopefully. And that brings me to the last thing I mentioned, which is my definition of clinched. When I say I have clinched a road. Now, you talk to 10 different road geeks or road enthusiasts, whatever you want to call us, and you'll get 10 different definitions. No one's definition is really the same. There's, to my knowledge, not a universally agreed upon definition of it. So what that means is it leaves it up to the individual to, within reason, define what they consider to be clinched. And that's what I'm going to do here, is go through and tell you my criteria for what it takes to have a road clinched. And this is just, again, my own personal definition. If yours is different, yours is more strict, more loose, more lenient, that's fine. That's, the fun of it, I guess, is to hear other people's definitions and what they consider to be clinched. Makes for good conversation on the message boards or whatever, but I'll just jump right into mine here. When I say I've clinched a road, generally speaking, I'm saying that first point is there's no more than one continuous mile not covered. Okay, so that means that there is not a full chunk of a mile in there that you haven't covered. Now, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. One continuous mile you haven't been on, you haven't clinched it completely. Also, for me, direction doesn't really matter. If you just driven it end to end in one direction or the other or both, either way, it's clinched. If you just drove it east, not west, but you covered every mile of it east, and there's no more than 1 mile continuously not covered in that stretch you drove east, it's clinched. It doesn't need to be both directions like some people think. For me, that's, again, this is all my opinion. Along those lines, I'll use an example here. I also allow for, in my definition of clinched, a combination of east-west or north-south, or inner loop, outer loop, whatever, kind of road you're talking about. And what I mean by that, the example I'll use, let's take Interstate 80 in Pennsylvania, okay? One that's pretty close to me. Let's say you drove it westbound from the Delaware Water Gap, New Jersey border, to exit 161, which is for Interstate 99, US 220 in Bellefonte. Okay, so you drove from westbound from New Jersey to exit 161. If at a different day and time you drive it from Ohio to that same exit, 161, eastbound, I allow for the combination of that eastbound and westbound mileage. Combined, you covered that whole road. So I count that as clinched. I allow for the combination of east, west, north, south, inner loop, outer loop, to work towards the total clinching of the road. Let's see here. What I don't count is if you get off an exit to, let's say, get gas or fuel, get something to eat, get a hotel for the night, go to the truck stop, get off at the rest area, take a leak, whatever it may be. or just to take a break, that doesn't count. Okay, it's not more than one continuous mile that you left that road, provided you get back on at the same interchange. That's the part that's important. You can get off as many exits as you want, as long as you get back on that same interchange. That it doesn't count, because I think to count that would really be nitpicking. And also the ramps don't count as part of the mileage of the interstate that you're on. I don't count that. That would be really nitpicking in my opinion. Now, where I relax the one continuous mile rule is for interstates, roads, whatever, going to international borders or other restricted areas, such as like military bases, for example. For those, I'll use another example. Let's use I-95 in Maine, okay? Exit 305 in Holton is the last exit you can take before you get to Canadian Customs. If you're not sure if you can go up to Customs and turn around without, entering without your passport, or, if it's a military base trying to, go up to the gate without proper clearance, it's not worth the trouble, okay? And I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. So I count it as clinched for roads ending at an international border or a military base or other restricted area. I count it as clinched as long as you covered up to the last possible exit you can take before Customs or before the restricted access area, and I count that as clinched. So for I-95 in Maine, if you take it all the way up to exit 305 in Holton, you've clinched it, in my opinion. Even though it might go on for another half mile or so till you actually get to Customs. Like I said, I don't count that because you're never really sure if you can get turned around, and it might just lead to either a lot of headaches, or even you getting in trouble if it's a restricted area like a military base. So I stretch that rule a little bit. As long as you go up to the last possible exit and take that exit and get turned around without any trouble or issues, I count that as clinched. Really, that's about it. Now, the 1 mile continuous, for a lot of 3-digit interstates that are either, a mile long or not much more than that, obviously that doesn't apply. You can't, if it's 1.5 miles long, you only drive a half mile of it, you didn't clinch it. So that's where, there's a little, whatever you want to call it, catch-22 or whatever to the rule. For those 3-digit interstates that are, less, not much more than a mile in length, for those I say you have to drive the whole thing. Since I can only think of one that ends in a military base, and that's Interstate 781 in north of Watertown, New York. Goes to Fort Drum. Again, for that, I say as long as you take it up to the final exit you can take before the restricted access, even though it's a 3-digit interstate that isn't very long, as long as you take it up to that last exit that you can without, possibly restricting an area you're not allowed to be in without proper clearance, let's be realistic, it's clinched, I say. So I think I covered all my points there that I wanted to make about what I consider clinched. So that when you see me say something, I clinch something, hopefully you can reference those points I made to understand exactly why I consider it clinched. And that's about it. That's all I wanted to talk about in this audio blog. Already getting long at about 15 minutes, so I'll cut it off there. So yeah, I hope everyone has happy holidays here coming up, and I guess we'll talk to you again in 2016, hopefully outlining some plans for couple different trips next year. So until then, take care. Thanks.